Welcome to Growth Architects, a podcast for tech entrepreneurs, product innovators, and marketing strategists. Whether you're searching for product market fit, exploring new growth channels, or trying to avoid common startup pitfall, this is where you'll find proven strategies to fuel your success. And now, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode. My guest today is Josh from CADClass. With him today, we're going to dissect his entrepreneurial journey from 3D printing to teaching people how to do that to creating a productized experience around that. Josh, I'm very happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
With you, we're going to talk about many different aspects of entrepreneurship. One of the most remarkable results actually is that the book you guys launched has been downloaded by almost 10,000 people, if I'm correct. Is that true?
That is true. That we know of.
That you know of. Okay, well, but before we get to that, would you like to tell us a bit more about yourself, how you started, and what is it that you're doing now?
Sure. Yeah, it's a winding journey, so I'll keep it compressed in the beginning and kind of talk about how I arrived at where I am, and maybe people that are listening can relate to some of this. But I started out studying pharmacy in college and then got really interested in business and ended up starting a science tutoring company in New York. And over the course of running that company, had decided that I was just tired of teaching the sciences, and I actually wanted to get my hands on stuff and do physical hands-on work. So I ended up moving out west, and I was the education director of a large makerspace, which has 3D printers, laser cutters, but equipment, metal equipment, things like that, and really fell in love with the process of making. While I was there, 3D printing was starting to get more commercialized and more accessible for people all over the world. And starting with the Ender 3, which was a $200, and here in the United States, it was $200 3D printer. An issue when I was working in the wood shop where I could not find the proper size dust collection adapter for my table saw. And so I would leave every day with sawdust all over me. And at the same time, I was learning 3D printing and starting to experiment with the 3D printers that we had. And I went online to order a product for this. I could not find this adapter anywhere. I asked my friends. Nobody could find this thing. It didn't exist as far as I could tell. And the ones that did exist didn't fit. It was pretty frustrating. So I ended up designing, along with my business partner, Jake, who is the other side of CADClass, I ended up designing my own dust collection adapter. Installed it. It took maybe 10 minutes of design, and it took about an hour or two to print it on the 3D printer, and it solved my problem perfectly. And that was the aha moment for when I started to realize the power of 3D printing, not just as a hobby tool, or as a toy, but really as a tool. So we launched CADClass. It was originally called Sliceform, and we launched it as a 3D printing as a service company and started to do a little bit of marketing and reach out to people. And then about 6 months to a year into that journey, where we started to focus a lot of our attention, and this feels analogous to selling shovels when people are searching for gold. But we realized at some point in every 3D printer and every person who owns a 3D printer's journey, they recognize that they need to know how to learn CAD. So CAD is computer-aided design. So Jake and I had a hard time finding clients that were reproducible, repeatable for the 3D printing business. And at the same time, we're both educators and wanting to focus on the education space. And so that was kind of the long-winded way of getting to here, which is why we decided to launch a computer-aided design online course and book to go along with it, and kind of what we're here to unpack, I think, from there.
Yeah, so that was really your bridge to try to create something that you guys could scale. Well, one of the things that I really like about your story is that you have really managed to broken down your proposition, right, into different things that you're offering. So something more bite-sized to something bigger, let's say. But you have done it really bottom up. So really starting from solving one problem at a time for people that you could meet in person, and what you told me, always with the idea of how do I make it scalable? Is that true?
100% true. Funny enough, so we mentioned the book in the beginning. We actually started by filming an online course that we were pretty frustrated by the state of learning CAD, both as engineering students. So my business partner was an engineering student and now is an engineer. And as hobbyists, we couldn't find learning material that was engaging and exciting and fun and really propelled us beyond just finding random tutorials and doing the basics. The idea to write the book and this idea of scalability and productizing has evolved right alongside of what we're doing. And so the book actually came from the online course when my business partner said, I actually prefer to learn from a book. Why don't we write a book? How hard could it be? If anybody in your audience has written a book, That's a brutal statement. But we have a
So how hard
philosophy.
did it turn out to be?
It turns out it's incredibly hard. We have over 2,000 images. It's a 350-page book, step-by-step projects. And it turns out writing technical documentation that doesn't skip steps, that can speak to the beginner but advance them beyond the basics, is an extreme challenge. So it's not for the weak. It ended up taking us about a year to a year and a half from start to finish. And both of us were working on it pretty much full time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Writing a book is something that is on my wish list, somewhere on my wish list, but I can imagine it sounds really like a huge effort. So I can really understand what you guys are talking about. But nevertheless, you managed to publish it. Well, you managed to write it, you managed to publish it. How did it go? How was your experience with publishing a book? There's this author, right? Daniel Priestley, who's really big on publishing books as a way to position yourself as a market expert. Did you see any return in terms of personal branding by publishing your book?
Big time. Not personal branding. So
okay, not personal
beautiful brand. Beautiful intro. I mean, I'm sure it has an impact. My name is on the cover of the book. I'm sure it has an impact on my personal brand. But more importantly, we were new to the computer-aided design teaching space online. Yeah. People didn't know us. And we definitely saw the book as a way to garner credibility. And that is exactly what happened. And I can say, I have strong opinions about people writing things like lead magnets. Since this is a marketing audience, we'll dive a little bit into that. Giving away freebies. I think there's a bit of a misconception that you can give away onesie twosies, 1-pagers, 2-pagers, and suddenly magically create a bunch of value. And I'm not slamming that. There is some room to do stuff like that. I think the big issue here is that most of the time that information isn't all that valuable. So we took an extreme opinion and we said, well, what if we wrote this book to get the kind of credibility that you're talking about, and then actually just offered it up either for a small donation or for those people who can't afford it completely for free. And so we took that idea of giving something away for free to its absolute limit. But in terms of credibility, to your original question, it has, every single time I've shown the book to somebody or taken it to a lecture or put it on a table or something like that, people absolutely love it. And it's like instant credibility right there.
How did you measure the impact on credibility somehow, or is it more qualitative? The perception that you got?
It's qualitative mainly. We have had, as you mentioned, we've had 10,000 or so people download it, and then a lot of inbound traffic because of that. But it has led to, we are now officially an Autodesk learning partner, which we had never spoken to anybody from Autodesk. We wrote our book on Autodesk Fusion, by the way, for the people curious about this, which is a CAD software that used to be called Autodesk Fusion 360, but we had no credibility with any of them, so that definitely gave us credibility there. And it was very easy, and it continued to be very easy to have conversation with people when we said, yeah, here, we've written the book. Here it is. You can see it. You can flip through it. Another idea behind this, too, is we're not hiding things behind paywalls. We just put it all out there. So if you want to join our Discord, we have 1,200 people, and you can go on and you can see our community interacting. There's nothing hidden behind a paywall. Same with our book. If you want to have a look through the entire book, you can just go ahead and leaf through the entire thing, never pay us $1. But we figured by just presenting to the world the best of what we have to offer, the hope is that we would get some of that back, i.e. via these partnerships with Autodesk and things like that. So qualitatively, yes, it's hard to quantitate because 1 or 2 interactions with a couple of important people are just such a massive deal. So quantitatively, yes, we've had an impact, but I'm not sure I could put a specific number on it. Does that answer your question?
Okay, but you measure it on being able to land those deals that indeed you don't need 20 of them, but like just 1 or 2 can really change the course of action. And also, what I like about your story, which is something that resonates with me, that what you said is that we are not going to create this freebie, just as the beginning of a funnel where we try to push things to people and you're always missing something. If you want to get value, then you have to pay us and then pay us more. And you see a lot of that. But if I hear correctly, what you're saying is that your idea was like, you can download this, you kind of pay with your data in a way, right? But if you read it, then you have everything you need. And then if you want more, if you want something different, then there is a chance to access to that. But it's not like the carrot and the stick where you are kind of forced or pushed to get more from us.
100%. And I actually have a good story here.
Yeah, sure.
This was just last year. I had a student reach out via email, and he was thanking me. He said, I downloaded your free learning materials last year. He's a high school student. He said, I downloaded your free learning materials last year. I've been fixing up this old Mercedes, and there was a problem with some sort of airflow problem that he had. And he had come up with a solution to fix that problem, but didn't have the CAD skills to actually do it. So he downloaded our book, worked through a couple of the lessons, didn't even get super far in the lessons, and actually ended up building that prototype, putting it up on Facebook, and sold thousands of dollars worth of them within a couple of days. And he bought and had launched his print farm on the back of this. And his email was saying, thank you for your free learning materials. I've donated $50 to the book. I just wanted to thank you once again. Without this, I couldn't have done it. And that story to me is the point. I'm trying to have an impact on people's lives, and I recognize that it may never come back to me, but in the cases like this where it does come back, I'm guessing it's going to come back and not only make me feel good, but be financially rewarding as well. So 100%, we're not trying to string people along. Our book goes alongside of our online course, but you do not have to take the online course. You can go through the book and it will walk you through step by step. We are not trying to withhold information so that it's annoying for you. And the reason you buy from us is because you had an annoyance that we can solve, but we hid it behind something. Our goal was maximum value for every single person that interacts with us. And we have to get creative from a business standpoint to figure out how to build a model around that kind of a thing. But I would prefer to do it that way. And by the way, you and I'm sure the audience listening here, you guys are all better marketers than me. So feel free to do it your own way and to keep giving your lead magnets. This is just the way that worked for us.
Well, I absolutely have a lot to learn from this story, but my brain is still stuck to high school kid with a Mercedes. He must have been quite extraordinary already before he downloaded your book. Was it his car or his?
Well, he was. I mean, it was a 1970s Mercedes. It was old. Okay. It was a fixer-upper. It was basically almost junkyard style, and he had been fixing it up over the course of his existence. So I don't think it was some nice, fresh new Mercedes where he's a high-end developer here.
Okay, but probably already a lot of entrepreneurial spirit with getting something old, trying to make it bigger and better. Okay, cool. Amazing. Very nice story. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about really like how do you guys are trying to distribute what your offer is? Also, what do you do? I think you described quite well the way in which you raise awareness on what you have. Is there also a way in which you try to retain users after they have decided to use your courses?
Very good question. Yes. Our entire product offering starts with sometimes the free book, sometimes the purchased book on Amazon, or sometimes the course. So our book is $40 on Amazon. We have some other distribution partners, mainly our sales are Amazon, or a $10 donation, suggested donation on the website, again, or completely free. So that's kind of where they enter. Then the course is $399, and that is step-by-step videos that go alongside of it. But then the part where it starts to get really interesting, I knew that I could figure this out eventually, but I didn't know going in that this is how it would work, is that what we've realized we can unlock value in is doing technical training for all sorts of different organizations by licensing out our books, our courses, and then our Discord server so that people can go in and leverage our materials to do what they want to do. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So one is schools. Schools will have classes of 30 to 35 students, and it's incredibly challenging for a couple of reasons for teachers to teach computer-aided design. One, it's a hard technical skill. Two, they can't really help everybody. And three, most people use a hodgepodge of resources from YouTube to PDFs that they find to training materials from the company themselves, and it's all kind of mixed and mashed together, and it changes every year. Can I just use your books and your courses and materials for every single student so that I don't have to deal with this every year, and I can teach and I can focus on building with 3D printers and laser cutters and things like that? So the licensing to schools is one model, and that typically starts around $4,500 for licenses for a school and can go up from there. And we can license out our 3D printing courses. And it's as bespoke as you'd like or as hands-off as you'd like. It's all there. It's all accessible there. The other partnerships that we've found value in are nonprofits and governments. So what will happen with nonprofits is that they will win grants to do training sessions around product development, around innovation, around product design, and they won't necessarily have the technical foundations to pull that off. And so we'll partner with them, and the same deal. We'll license out our courses, books, and materials. And usually those are much more hands-on. So those are a much higher ticket item. But that's kind of how people tend to work through the funnel. On the other side of it, you said retention. Our Discord server is actually our best retention tool. So our Discord server, once people have graduated our course, we give them a graduate tag, and then they can start to interact with and help other folks in our community. And then occasionally what will happen is somebody's very active in there, and so then we'll give them a moderator tag. And then occasionally we'll invite them on for our podcast. We do a weekly podcast on YouTube, and so we'll invite them on to say, hey, you've just designed this amazing BattleBot. You went through our course. Can you talk through how you designed it and how you thought about it and what you did? And so a lot of that retention for our audience over a long period of time is through the interaction in Discord that we've built with the community, and just trying to find little ways here and there to continue to add value to them. And we found one of the best ways to add value for them is for them to go and try to add value for other people, and us to support that endeavor in whatever way that we can.
Got it. So you really built a community of people who are willing to help each other. And by doing that, they actually foster the bigger community, which for you is a way to kind of being present in their daily life.
Yeah, and it's valuable for the new members because the new members then get their questions answered very quickly. And it was just happening last night. I was watching somebody come in and get frustrated, and then one of our graduates he was in the Discord and he answered the questions right away. And within 2 minutes, this person who was frustrated had a question answered. And so the person that's been with our community for a long time got value because it's nice to help other people. It feels good. And the person who was new got value. And we obviously got value as CADClass, but it's not like I didn't feel like any of us were taking something from somebody else. It was all additive.
No, exactly. You got value by enabling others to multiply the value that they can offer. That's something that I really like. Well, personally, it resonates a lot with me because people who know me know that I really like to build bridges. I really like the concept of people helping each other. But when I can, I really take the same approach to things. So I think it really resonates with me. Another thing that I really like and that I want to ask you to share is actually the way we met. We met via something that you posted on Reddit. And when we had our intro chat, you told me that actually that was one of the most effective campaigns that you guys ran. Would you like to tell us more about what you did there?
Yes. So we originally launched our very first video course on Reddit. I don't know if I mentioned that part to you when we were talking, but when we built the video course, this is classic marketing stuff, right? And I've been in this world for a little while, trying to run businesses, and I should know better. But we built the product, and then we thought about marketing, and then it really didn't build it alongside of a marketing campaign as closely as we should have. And then we're looking at each other going, nobody knows this course exists. Like, it's a website in the ether. Nobody knows this. What do we do? And so we were just tossing ideas around, and my business partner, Jake, is pretty active Reddit user. And we said, hey, why don't we run a beta test on Reddit and just see what happens? We'll say, hey, we just built an online course and we're looking for some feedback. Is anybody interested in learning Autodesk Fusion? If so, it's a 12-week program. We're going to have some Zoom sessions and you'll get access to all of our training materials. Let us know. And first off, that went pretty crazy. I mean, we had to turn that off, and we accepted 20 people into the first cohort. And we thought, okay, well, that's a pretty good indicator. At least we may not know what to charge. We may not know how to launch this product, but people are definitely
who are you
interested in
targeting,
this.
by the way? Did you target different channels?
We were targeting a couple of subreddits. One of them was r-fusion 360, which is the Fusion 360 Reddit subred, and the other was r-3D printing. Those were really the main two. We had some others we targeted as well, but when we first launched, we thought our primary audience was going to be people who had bought a 3D printer, who recognized that they had a problem, which was that they didn't know how to make CAD models, or if they did, they didn't know it very effectively. So we thought that would be our primary target. Turns out we could take a deeper dive on that later. It turns out that's been somewhat true, but they haven't been the biggest cohort. Definitely, there is a need there, though. So those are the two primary subreddits that we targeted. And we ended up signing up the 20 people, onboarding them, and running them through a 12-week class, and made our course significantly better because of it. Made a lot of changes, refilmed a lot of videos. That was the first intro into Reddit and the power of just simply asking people if they wanted to do something, or giving something of value away, or offering. So this clued us in to the next thing that happened, which was when we launched our book, same questions were in our head. Well, who do we tell and how do we tell them? And we thought, well, we posted on Reddit a while back, and that seemed to have an impact on our video course. Maybe we should just do that again. And so on a whim one night, Jake, we finally decide to pull the trigger, and he just publishes a title, and it says, I just published my first book about learning Fusion 360 without it being a pain in the ass. And he had a photo of the book, and it was just a photo of the book. That was the headline. No links, no traffic directed anywhere else. And he pressed the go button, and within 2 minutes, we were slammed. So our traffic was crazy to the website. People went, they downloaded the book, they found it on Amazon, they linked to it below, and then we just had this basically 24-hour conversation with Reddit where they were asking us questions. Oh my goodness, can I get this in whatever country? It was coming from all countries all over the world. Can I get this in this country? Sure. It's on our website. Here's a link. You can have it. You can donate. We would very much appreciate a donation, or you can just have it for free. And that combination of people going, this is free, what? So we got that instant karma on Reddit where the people were like, what do you mean free? Like, this is amazing. You just made me buy it. And so paradoxically, we're giving it away for free, but encouraging people to buy it. So what they could do is they could go on and download the book. They could be like, is this a total pile of garbage, or is this thing actually reasonable? And when they did it, they'd go, wow, this book looks really incredible. And then they would go donate, and then they would go back to Reddit, and they would say, I just donated to this book I downloaded for free because it was incredible. And that cycle lasted big time for 24 hours and still continued and was and continues to be the best single marketing campaign that we've ever run. And it wasn't even intended to be a marketing campaign. It was just like, we did a thing. Maybe you guys will like the thing that we did. That was it.
Love it. I really love the story. I think it's, there is really a lot that everyone can learn from that, but also really the enthusiasm that comes from that. And sometimes it's also okay to just try things and also share with people your enthusiasm for what you have. I believe that's really what paid out, right? Do you think, because you said that your co-founder
100%.
is quite big on Reddit, there's two questions that I have for you. So number one, why do you think that this worked in Reddit? And number two, do you think it would have worked even without him being so, let's say, popular on Reddit or so known on Reddit?
He's actually not known on Reddit. He's on Reddit, but he's not known on Reddit. So this is an important thing. We don't actually, neither of us have a big Reddit following.
Okay.
And we ended up posting this through our business Reddit account, the CADClass account, and so we had basically no karma.
Okay.
So this was completely from scratch.
Everyone can do it.
Okay, so let's unpack that second part. Yes, everyone can do it. But I think where we got a little bit lucky is, of course, we knew there was a problem. We knew that the training materials for this software were not adequate. They weren't interesting. They weren't fun. They weren't well laid out. They weren't comprehensive. We had sat with this problem for many, many, many years. So we knew there was a problem. I think this is key number one. If I could broadly give advice, it is most people who are trying to build businesses or market or do something like that are trying to market or build a business around something that isn't a big enough problem. It's not a pain point. People don't care about it enough. So can anybody do it? Like, kind of going back to that original question, absolutely. If the problem they solve or are trying to solve is real and people have it and it's so painful they're searching for a solution. I distracted myself there. So yes, if they have a big enough problem, we didn't have a following. The other side of it, we happened to luck into a couple of communities. So the Fusion subreddit is one of the top 1% Reddit subreddits. It's exactly targeted to the people trying to learn what we are offering a solution for. And it's been devoid of the problem, like we just mentioned, or of a solution that solves these people's problems for how do I learn this stuff from scratch. So it was like this nice mix of luck, for sure. Don't think I could pull in very many businesses and say, yeah, let me do this for your business and it will work, tied with a problem that people said that they had in exactly the target market.
Got it. So, well, I guess the message actually then it's something a bit like that if you really nail what problem you're solving and for whom. So if you really have a very deep understanding of how urgent it is, that actually makes marketing so much easier because you're not throwing things at people, you're not selling something to someone, but it's just so much easier, right, to attract people to what you're doing. Whereas I think that it makes a lot of sense what you're saying because often a lot of people or we don't really know what you're doing for whom, what problem are we really solving for them. So yeah, I think it's
yeah, and it's definitely the advice I would give, if any, is just that problem is your problem as a business owner all day, every day.
Yeah.
You have to live it. And for us, and we work a lot in the product development world, developing physical products. And so we talk a lot about how when you spot a problem in your, first off, getting good at spotting problems in your own life, really meditating and trying to search for solutions to those problems and deeply and fundamentally understanding the industry. Not just, I had a problem, I'm going to go solve it, but like, well, who helped? And not just like, not just a piece of paper where you're like, well, is there a target market, right? We tend to go through these motions. And I think part of the problem is that when we go through these motions, we're not feeling them. They're not impacting us in the way that they, so you really need to try to find a way to feel what it is. And the best way I know from a product development standpoint to feel something is to do it often. So a great place to look is hobbies, things that you do consistently every day. And then it's really about examining those things carefully. And I use the word carefully intentionally because it has the word care in it, and it has to hit you somewhere emotionally. And if it doesn't, and I understand there are going to be marketers in here who are going, well, I don't really care all that much about this person's problems. My advice would be something like, well, then you better try to figure out a way to. You better try to figure out a way to tap into somebody's emotion or the care that somebody has around this, because to me, that's the single most important point.
Very good piece of advice. Hey, Josh, well, it has been a great conversation so far. Before we wrap this up, there's one last thing that I'd like to ask you. So one thing that I really liked about our first conversation is that you said that now your plan is to build 1 to 2 products per year to give kind of longevity and a long-term goal to your company. Would you like to tell us something more about that? Do you also have a plan at some point to build something with that goes more in the direction of like software data, or is it gonna stay a course?
So I'm going to start at the end. Do I have a plan to build some software data kind of thing? I would love to. I will say I haven't quite found the problem that I would want to solve in that way with software yet. I've been playing around with a lot of AI tools. I've been playing around, actually getting back into programming myself. I was going through some Python videos last night, mainly because I build a lot of automations for us internally. Man, would I love to have a software solution. I would love to be in the world of selling software solutions to people. Will we create one as a part of the 1 to 2 products that we're trying to put out every year? Maybe. Hope that we do. I haven't quite nailed down what that problem will be. But to your other point, yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and one of the things that they say a lot is, and they talk obviously a lot about as investors, is this idea of compound interest. So I've been really obsessed with compound interest for a long time now, specifically as it pertains to the 1 to 2 products per year. My idea is if we put out 1 to 2 either products or productized services or things that we can sell reproducibly with minimal effort, so those scalable products, if we do 1 to 2 of those for the next 10 to 20 years minimum, then we'll have a product catalog of say 20 to 40. And maybe, by the way, maybe this speeds up with hiring people. Maybe this speeds up with other things like that. But if we can stick to 1 to 2 products or productized services per year that add value to the rest of our community, that solve some problem that our community has identified, and put those things out, we believe we can tap into this idea of compound interest and build a very big, successful, and manageable bootstrap business.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I think that especially this idea of compound interest is not something that you hear a lot, right? In a world where the idea is like make money quick, every 1 or 3 years, do something new, change quickly. And also, in a way, the people that you mentioned, like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, are not necessarily the first inspiration of a lot of people of our age, but I just love that. I really like the fact that, you have ideas that are definitely not mainstream, and they make a lot of sense. They make a lot. I think this is the first conversation I'm having with someone who thinks so long term, and I really like that.
Thank you so much. I mean, yeah, I've enjoyed your questions too. I know I can give some examples. So this isn't just theory, right? So it's easy to say these things. And by the way, these are really hard products to create. So every day I'm banging my head against a keyboard, basically trying to build them. But we've already done that now a couple times. So our online course points back to the book, obviously. You don't need to buy the book, but you can if you want. So we actually have 3 books. So we found a co-author for a second book, still in computer-aided design. And he published both a student and a teacher workbook that also ties back into, obviously this is still CAD, but it refers directly back to our other book, and it refers directly to our course, and it refers directly back to us, and it adds value for a community that's on the periphery of what we're already doing anyway. So for the folks who are really excellent CAD modelers, Guess what? They have kids. And guess what their kids want to start with? A software that isn't quite so intimidating. So if we can get their kids interested using the first book and that brings them into the ecosystem, then we're not only serving the people directly, but we're starting to serve those that they love around them and want to introduce to these tools and techniques and ideas. And so that's really the idea. And so we have 3 books, and all of them point back to either an online course or another book. And actually, in multiple instances, they do so circularly. So everything that we build has got to be additive for the community. It has to be value add, and it should tie directly into something else we do and either be for our target market or for those around the people in our target market who are most likely to do it. And that's, I think, the beauty of it is keep trying to serve the people, keep feeding them what it is that they want, give them more, give them better, increase the quality, make sure that they know that you're doing this together. And that's where I'm thinking about productized services or SaaS solutions to problems that people have is how do I solve those people's problems better and better and better with 1 to 2 products every year, such that compound interest in 10 years, you look back and you say, how the heck did they manage to pull this off? And the answer is bit by bit, one little piece at a time. I had a little investment here and a little investment here or a big investment here, and I just continued to invest in those people over a very long period of time.
Nice. Amazing. Well, Josh, it has been an amazing conversation. Thank you a lot. Where can people know more about you?
You can find out more. You can find out more at CADClass.org. Again, that's CADClass, C-A-D, class.org. I'm super excited about that name, by the way. We got that domain for the base price. Nobody else had it. I still can't believe it to this day that I got it. But you can find out more at cadclass.org. That's going to have links to our books, to our courses, to additional information about Jake and I. That's the easiest way to do it. We also have a YouTube channel. We do some fun creative content around product design and innovation on our YouTube channel.
Nice. Amazing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Yeah.